one of the things that I've really seen is a video of how you edit your videos and how you put together post-production actual plays. So I'm in the middle of doing some recording right now. Well, doing some post-production right now, I should say, for a recording for the second episode of Aegon. First one is already up there. And I am working through using Adobe Premiere Pro, getting everything sort of like rough cut. Just a few things that I do. You see little green tags in the timeline. Those are where I've already gone through the entire video looking for scene changes, and now I'm inserting the overlays into the V2 timeline. You've got 3 video timelines by default. One thing I like to do is, if I roughly know where an overlay cut scene change is going to be, then I need a new overlay for it. So for example, I'm in the middle of doing one here, where you see things move from this format to this format, and I've got to get the point where it changes as accurate as possible. I'll expand the timeline. That way I can track back with the with this dragging bar, which puts me at the point of where the video is playing back from, and I can capture the exact moment during what is like a 5-second fade when things change to the second overlay, and then I can drag the previous overlay up to meet it and then roll over to see how smooth the transition is, and then I can play it back.
Consummate V's. So next one's for the heroes who prevailed, which we've actually got
yeah, and that seems sort of like pretty smooth. And then I will expand the other one and go hunting for the next switch. Now, even though I will sort of like watch the video back for overlay changes, and I do that by dragging the bar along the video like this, sort of like playing it on fast forward almost to see where changes might be. Don't always get them, can sort of like miss them, so you can't kind of watch and rewatch your video long enough. I'm just going to drag it right across here because it's all looking pretty clear, and then I'm reducing the timeline down to have a look and see all these green marks, see all the green markers in the V1 A1 timeline. That's where I know I've got some changes. So if I zap the old playhead line across, yeah, I can see where that changes. And you can see my marker is not quite on the same spot. It's pretty close. That's because I am popping the markers down as I watch. And you know, there can be some hand-eye lag, so they can be a bit behind. So I'm just going to figure out which of these templates that is, because I've got quite a few different formats, you know, and this is one of the challenges as you get more sophisticated. So you want to do things like show different screens, have different sort of like formats, but then you need more overlays. The overlays are done by Nick. She does them in Photoshop, and she stores all the assets, so there's a lot of stability in the overlays and a lot of reuse potential, but still it's an awful lot of work. So if you're wondering how much effort it is to create a good AP when it just comes from the overlay point of view, the answer is it's a lot. It's hours of work just to get the overlays put together. We do a first pass where I will send Nick screenshots from Adobe Premiere of what the different layouts are. And then she will send me rough cuts without all the fancy graphics in that just sort of like block it out, and I will match them up and see if they line up okay and give her the go ahead, and then she starts putting them all together. And then I start lining them up. And it's a lot of painstaking work, and you kind of uncover different kind of shortcuts and processes that make it easier. And I'm narrowing it down now so that I can, almost like zooming in, so that I can start to expand this. I've got to get it to the start point, so I'm dragging the timeline back. I've got quite an expanded timeline, so it takes a while. If I want a smooth transition, then I need a long timeline. And this looks like the transition point. There's probably faster ways of doing this. And if anyone knows any, stick them in the comments. Hey, I'm always looking to improve and find different ways of doing things. Especially if they cut out the amount of time and effort, sheer labour, attention to detail that I have to put into the video editing process. And I'm just looking at the graphical overlay side of things here in this video. Sound editing is a whole different kettle of fish. I do a whole pass just on the sound, several passes using Adobe Premiere and the tools built in there, but also Audition as well to try and get the sound as clear and as balanced as possible within the limits of Discord, recording, internet bandwidth, all of the individuals players, varying fidelities of quality. I've got a Sennheiser profile, which gives me a really good pickup. Nick has another really good quality mic, but some of our players are on headset mics and completely different setups. We all play remotely, and sort of like over time, we upgrade our equipment, and I try and pass on upgraded equipment to my players, to try and improve the quality month on month, year on year. Right, so I'm going to expand the timeline again so that I can get that transition point. Because I've got the expanded timeline, I have to drag it further, but there we go. Just getting close to here. Still not quite there. That's the transition here. And with the video fade, it's really cool, except for, of course, you can't video fade, or at least I can't, the overlays, although perhaps I can. But I don't tend to do that because it happens within a relatively small time frame. Barely noticeable, I think, when you watch the videos. When I get it right, when I get it wrong, you notice it. That's for darn sure. Right, let's pick up. Right, overlay. This is the fella. Expand it to get the right size. It's a drag and drop situation. Really important when overlay designs are done that you do the sort of test fit process. And now I can start dragging back. I'm going to zoom out. Can't zoom out too far though, because I need this overlay to be a bit bigger so I can actually pick it up. And then drag it back to the previous meeting point. I'm then going to head over there with my timeline and have a look at that transition. That transition looks good. No problem there. In fact, because I've got the same overlay, I could have just dragged it across. There's a little shift. Not too worried about that, to be honest. You know, I like things to be as good as I can get them, but also I've got to, if I get them absolutely perfect, I probably triple the amount of time that I spend doing them. Now, if I'm doing a paid gig, and I've got a 2-hour video, 3-hour video, and I've budgeted for a week of video editing, which will get the video edited in 7 working days from raw footage all the way to the finished product, and that includes multiple passes from dialogue, from music, to sound effects, to video fades, to editing passes, to overlay transitions. That's roughly how long it takes me to do a full 2-3 hour video when I'm being paid for it. I will put a week's worth of work into it to get it absolutely where I want it to be, and my tolerance for little fluffs in the video and the overlay mismatching are a lot lower because I'm being paid to do it. That also includes, by the way, that timeline, searching for all the resources, searching for the right music within catalogues, within libraries that I pay licenses to, getting the right video sound effects, curating all those, and having them placed in. And I'll do another video on the sound editing that we do here in Denizens, so you can kind of see what that's like. Hopefully that'll be of interest to some people who are doing this kind of stuff themselves. Now, I used to use iMovie, and iMovie was great for a while until I got a bundle package of Adobe, and I switched to Adobe. It was a bit of a learning curve because it's a lot more sophisticated, but the flexibility that it has, Premiere Pro has, the range of tools, different tools, the shortcuts it enables me to do in my video editing. There's no way I'll go back to using something like iMovie before, but if you're starting off with your video editing with iMovie, then that's perfectly decent to get you started with. But I would seriously recommend shopping about and looking for a more professional package. And I like the Adobe package because once you've got the hang of one of their tools like Photoshop, then the skills transfer into the other tools, like Premiere Pro, like Audition. I use that a lot. I also use After Effects for the titles. That's another video, I think. And I use Media Encoder for assembling the final product to upload to YouTube. So I'll do videos on all those bits in time. But I thought it might be of interest to some people. And for those of you who are wondering about, hey, how can I record my game and get it up on YouTube? What's involved in it? This is a little intro to and insight into video editing, one of the APs.